Hi everyone, this is CricketSong with Lunar Wisdom, and today's video topic is discernment. What I mean by that, or actually in what sort of aspect we're going to talk about discernment, is when you receive messages from the spirit realm and how you can determine whether these messages are from you and your own insecurities and your own fears, or whether they are actually originating from spirit, and how you can determine whether these messages originate from a positive or a high vibrational entity or a sort of negative or low vibrational entity, what steps you can take, and why you should use discernment when you are receiving messages. And at this point, before I get into any information, what I want to do is point you to a video done recently by Charlie Says Go. It's a video response she did to, I believe, Midnight Wiccan, where she is responding to his concern that he made contact with a demon. The part of the video that I am going to suggest you watch is the beginning of her video, where she goes into descriptions of the different levels of spiritual entities that one could communicate or receive guidance from. Because instead of me taking a whole bunch of time, she does it, she explains it perfectly. So I'm going to direct you there, so that if you don't understand what I'm talking about, she really sets you up on understanding sort of the different levels of spiritual entities. So the focus that I want to, for this video, sort of the questions I want to answer for you is, how can an individual determine what messages are from spirit and what messages originate from our own ego or our own sense of I, which are stemmed from our own fears and insecurities? And the other question is, would spirit ever inform you of a message that does not directly pertain to you? And an example is whether you would ever be told if another individual was enlightened, or whether they were on the wrong path. Okay, so these two, first, my feeling and my suggestion is you need to understand what you believe the nature of spirit is. Now, again, you know, Charlie points out the three different sort of levels of spirit, but when you are working with or receiving messages from the spirit realm, you need to understand and have a pretty good grasp on what your understanding of the nature of spirit is. What do you believe spirit is when we're talking about spirit? I mean, and this is going to differ from person to person, so you need to have your own grasp of what it means. Do you believe in an Abrahamic God? Do you believe in angels? Do you believe that God is all gods and goddesses? Do you have a particular pantheon that you work with? Do you believe in? Do you believe that all paths lead to the same end? Do you believe in a universal source? And once you figure out what you believe in, how would you describe this spirit, this entity, this energy? And once you understand the nature of spirit, then it will be easier for you to use discernment when deciding whether the messages that you're receiving are from spirit. Now, that's sort of like saying that, you know, there is one big energy. And I am going to, again, point to Charlie's video where she sort of breaks the three with, you know, the supreme spirit, the earthly spirit, and those of, you know, infernal or sort of demonic spirits, how she classifies them and what's the general classification of them. Now, I'm going to go into some information, and I'm going to give you a book recommendation at this point for this book, Spirit Allies, Meeting Your Team from the Other Side by Christopher Penzak. This book here, a lot of the information I'm going to be sharing is from this book, from chapter 6 on pages 86 to 107. And this chapter is called Meeting Your Spirit Allies, okay? And actually there's a whole big section on discernment, and it goes on for pages, and I'm going to share some information. I really enjoy this book. I think it's easy to understand and it's really helpful. Okay, so discernment in what we're talking about is really using your better judgment. So it's really using what you know, what you feel, what you understand, what you believe, and using that judgment to determine whether a message is where it's coming from. Now, although when you are receiving messages, whether you're doing it through meditation, whether you are getting messages through dreams, whether you're clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, whether you are in a trance, whether you are a medium or channeling, you may be an open channel. But you should, just like when you meet people face to face in the physical, you don't take everything that everyone says as truth, at least truth for you. You know, when you meet people in the physical realm, when you meet people for the first time, hey, how are you? You, I would hope, shouldn't automatically take that every word that comes out of their mouth is truth and fact and absolute. So in that same way, when you are getting messages from spirit realm, you should not take every message, everything given to you, shown for you, as absolute truth. Because when we are these open channels, we are open not only to these messages and spirits that we're receiving, we're also open to our own preconceived notions and our egos and other people on the physical realm, their beliefs as well. Now, especially if you are, you know, working with spirit from the spirit realm who have once been physical and in a physical body, they, when they were alive, had beliefs and feelings and perceptions. And sometimes those feelings, beliefs, and perceptions will carry over. When you're still going to receive a vibrational frequency depending on when they died and a whole bunch of other stuff, but you might receive some of that residual feelings and beliefs when you're communicating. True discernment comes from both your heart and your mind. So you're going to be using both your heart chakra, and your mind, your intellect, your intelligence, your wisdom. Okay, so you're going to use both. You're not just going to be reacting with your heart, and you're not just intellectually going to be intellectualizing and analyzing things with your mind. You're going to use both in succession. Messages, especially if you're getting messages for yourself, should resonate with you, or at the very least, not hurt someone. So and this is messages that are from love, okay? These messages should resonate with your heart and with your vibration. So when you receive a message, you should at some level have some sort of reaction to this message that makes sense. Your intuition, your gut should be telling you whether this is true or not. Your intellect should be telling you whether it makes sense or not. And I understand that sometimes we receive messages that we don't understand, but even the messages that we don't truly understand, there is some level of reaction where you know it's true. And you may not be able to describe whether it's true or not, but you instinctively feel that it's true. Okay? Messages inspiring fear or hate or anger do not resonate with love. And this goes back to the idea that there are two vibrational frequencies. Everything stems from these two. They stem from love or they stem from fear. And things that are of love are from Source, God, the highest vibrational frequency, and those that stem from fear are on the lower vibrational frequency. They stem from anything, disappointment, anger, all stems from fear. So if you're getting a message, whether it's meant for you or you're channeling or a medium, acting as a medium, and you're getting a message for someone else, and it's stemming from fear, then you really need to take a look and understand that there's just something not right here, okay? That then you should start probing with other questions and trying to determine, are you getting this message because for some reason this situation or this person is triggering something within you that is making you fearful, and perhaps you're misinterpreting a message that you're getting because your own ego and insecurities and fear are coloring that. Okay? True spiritual guidance. Now this is what we're talking about when we're getting guidance and insight for a situation. True spiritual guidance from a helpful, loving being, spiritual being, will expand your awareness and viewpoint. These messages should be compassionate and expressed for the good of all, for the highest good, with love and compassion and understanding, because again, all these things resonate with love. So if you are getting information from some being that says that they're your spirit guide, and they're not compassionate and they're harsh and they make you feel uncomfortable in a negative way and make you feel ashamed or make you feel angry, then really you need to start doing some more probing questions to see if it's really stemming from who you believe is your spirit guide, or is it coming from your own insecurities? If you determine that it is coming from your spirit guide, then you really need to look as to whether the spirit guide is not a lower level earthly bound type spirit, and it's truly from someone who should be guiding you. You want to be wary of messages that incite fear or arrogance or division, separating people instead of bringing them together. Okay? Because those messages that are coming to separate people or to make people afraid or to make people angry or arrogant, make people feel better than other people, then that's really not coming from an expanded consciousness. It's coming from a low-level vibrational frequency, whether that's, your own insecurities, whatever you want to label that low-level vibrational frequency, it's not coming from an expanded consciousness filled with love. And you want to be very wary and, again, ask more probing questions. Now, after saying all this, you also need to understand that spirit entities do have different personalities, and they have different vibrational frequencies, so we have different levels of different types of spirit entities. And even if you're receiving guidance from Source, if you are tapped into Isis, for example, and you're getting messages from the goddess Isis, her personality is going to be very different than Hecate, or very different than Kali. Now, this doesn't mean that Isis is at a higher vibration than Kali or Hecate. It means her personality and her attributes and her vibrational frequency is going to be different. Now, that doesn't mean that any of the three cannot give you messages, but even those messages from Kali are going to come in a motherly, loving fashion, even if her personality is fiery and destructive. There's still that positive side from her if it truly originates from her. All messages that you received from expanded consciousness will be filled with love. And all messages that are helpful, even when communicating with spirits of those dead ancestors or family members or relatives of ours, are going to come with love. Even if they are warnings, even if they are messages that make us feel uncomfortable, we can still trace a feeling of love. Remember, I said you're going to be discerning with not only your mind, but also your heart. That's why a lot of people say, a lot of people who do mediumship, a lot of people who do work with spirit, a lot of people who do channel, explain that this isn't something you go into carelessly. It's not something you go into haphazardly, because you need to build an understanding and a wisdom. Know yourself, know the nature of spirit, and have, you know, as we say in the witch's pyramid, have the knowledge before you jump into things like this. Because not only, especially if you're taking in messages to pass on to other people, you don't, I would hope, want to be someone who is passing on messages that incite fear and anger, frustration and guilt unintentionally. Because we can do things. Remember that you are responsible for everything you say and do, whether it's intended or not. And I'm not trying to make you fearful. I'm just saying that you need to understand what it is you're doing, especially when you are going to counsel other people. And then you don't want to hurt yourself either. You don't want to go into meditation or trance and start getting messages for yourself and making yourself feel bad. And instead of trying to integrate your shadows and work through them, you end up building them and building up this big anxiety, because now you think you're getting messages from spirit that are telling you that you're doing something the wrong way, or you're on the wrong path, or you're stupid. Understand that you may have messages from spirit that are trying to guide you on a different path, but it would be worded and you would feel that it's a loving embrace and a guidance, not a reprimand. Okay? So when you receive these messages, what are you feeling? How does your body feel physically? How do you feel when you receive these messages? Because your physical body will resonate with truth. For me, when I'm getting a message that I know is 100% on point, I can feel the top of my head tingle, and it travels down the back of my head to the back of my neck and spread out like a cloak. It's these tingling, it's a sensation that isn't uncomfortable. It isn't quite pleasant, but it's a sensation that I don't normally feel and I cannot replicate no matter how hard I try. It's just these tingling sensation, and it starts like a cap at my crown chakra and just trickles down to the back of my head, to the back of my neck, and to my shoulders, as if I am now wearing like a shawl over my head. But it's all tingly, electrifying. That's when I know I'm on to the truth, or a true message. All spirits are required. Now this is according to Christopher Penczak. So I am not saying I 100% agree with this. I'm actually not sure how I feel about it, but because it's specific information from his book, I wanted to pass it on to you because maybe it resonates with you and it rings true for you. He says that all spirits are required to answer truthfully, even dark, harmful spirits, if you ask them the same question 3 times in the name of the divine. And he says the name of the divine is whatever name resonates with you. So if you call the divine Jehovah or Yahweh or Allah, whatever you name the divine, Lilith or Isis or Ra, or I don't know, a Zeus or Apollo, I mean any name, whatever name that you understand the divine to be, if you ask a harmful or low-level vibrational frequency to answer something truthfully, and you ask in the name of the divine 3 times, that spirit is required to answer you truthfully. For example, he says, say for me, I have a spirit entity show up for me as I'm working with spirit. I say, in the name of the goddess Isis, do you come in perfect love and perfect trust for the highest good? And the spirit, I get a yes. If I am still in question, I ask yet again, in the name of the goddess Isis, do you come in perfect love and perfect trust for the highest good? Spirit responds, yes, I'm still not completely sure. In the name of the goddess Isis, do you come in perfect love and perfect trust for the highest good? This spirit entity would have to answer truthfully. If the spirit says no, in a very low response or a delayed response, then I understand that it is not for the highest good, it's not in perfect love and perfect trust, and it should move on. If it is, it will respond in a positive yes. He also suggests that you can ask for this spirit to send you unconditional love while saying the spirit's name 3 times. So for example, if I'm making contact with my spirit guide Syra, and I am not convinced that it's truly her, and I say, Syra, send me unconditional love. And as I'm waiting for her, I say, Syra, 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 I do not receive the unconditional love, then I know that this is not Syra, or a low level, or it is of a low level vibrational frequency. He also suggests that spirits who are from expanded consciousness love laughter, love love, and if I am concerned that I am attracting a low-level frequency, or I have one in my midst, that laughing and joyousness will chase the spirits away because they always want to be taken seriously, and because they are feeding off your attention and your energy. And it's the whole idea that a low-level vibrational frequency spirit would not feel welcomed in a high vibrational environment. You know, if I'm here and I'm feeling good and I'm laughing, not mocking, but just laughing because I'm in this high vibration and I'm trancing or I am meditating and I'm feeling good, then the likelihood of me encountering a low-level vibrational frequency would not happen. However, if I've opened myself to anything and anyone and saying, hey, I'm an open doorway, we want to talk to you, and a low-level vibrational frequency or entity comes in, and the group of us start laughing and not mocking, understand, but laughing out of pure joy, that low-level vibrational frequency would be chased away by the high level that we have made the environment to be. Again, they want your attention because it feeds their thought form or their energy body, and the more attention they get, the more stronger they become. So if you want to encourage positive spirits and entities or beings, then you can pay more attention to them. But if it's a low level, you don't want to feed it the negative energies. So, how do you determine what when a message is from spirit or from your own ego? You need to understand the nature of spirits. You need to understand the nature that you understand of spirit. You need to understand yourself. You need to be honest with yourself. My feeling is that spirit communication is not something you jump into haphazardly, but you do so with knowledge and understanding, just like any other form of magical practice. Would a spirit ever inform you of a message that does not directly pertain to you? My feeling is 95% no, it wouldn't. However, if you're acting as a medium or a channeler, or you're doing readings, you will get messages that are not pertaining to you, that they will be pertaining to someone else. Would spirit ever tell you that an individual is not enlightened? Only if you are seeking answers for that individual. You know, if you are sitting here doing a reading and you're asking about an individual, your point of focus is another individual, then you may receive messages like that. However, if you are not, and you are not seeking, you're doing your own meditation, or you're just, I don't know, walking around and you are someone who is clairaudient or clairsentient and you happen to just get messages because spirit sees you. If you are getting a message like that, then you really need to use discernment. If you discern that that message is genuine and is coming from source, ask yourself why you're being told that someone else is not enlightened, and then ask, is this helpful? Is this going, if I were to give this message to the individual that I'm receiving it about, is it going to make them feel good? Is it from love? If it is from love, then my feeling is that's not the way that that message was being presented to you. So really consider why you would be getting the message and that person that it's for isn't getting the message. What does it really have to do with you? Would spirit tell you that someone else is on the wrong path? Again, what is your understanding of the nature of spirit? Does spirit see things in right or wrong? Is that truly how spirit sees it? Is that an expanded consciousness? I mean, when you receive information that does not directly pertain to you, my feeling is you really have to do a lot of discernment and searching on those questions, because that is sort of like a red flag for me. Unless I'm doing a reading for someone and they are directly asking me about that. Okay? That is all I have to say on this matter. If you have questions or want to leave comments, please do so. If you have questions that you're uncomfortable with in leaving the information here in the information or the comment section, feel free to email me directly. And as always, guys, I love you. Mwah.